Okay, part two of your uh, final exam guide that I'm going through, and We finished with number three, which was giving me ending balances. So I went on to number four, which is going to be a direct labor budget. Now, this one is one of the more difficult budgets. Not that it's a hard budget; it's a pain in the ass to set up. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the question with you a little bit here, and I'm sorry if you hear all this. Um, if you hear me unwrapping these candies, these lifesavers that you see sitting there, not that you can really see it because of the light. Um, Sorry, it's just I quit smoking 2 weeks ago. So the only thing that's getting me through the cravings are these lifesavers, peppermints, stupid little things like that. So just bear with me if you hear me opening one and it's making a lot of noise. I'm sorry. All right. So when it comes to number four here, this talks about completing a direct labor budget. And what I need you guys to understand here is this company has two different products that it makes. It's got an R2D2 and a T3E3. There's two departments it has. So it's got two products and two departments. It's got shaping and assembly. Each one of them has a different cost and a different time frame. So what you see here is that, for instance, product R2D2 with the whole Star Wars thing going there. R2D2, it takes a half an hour to shape. It takes 4/10 of an hour to assemble. Now, shaping costs $9 an hour, and assembly costs $12 an hour. T3, it takes zero point 0.7 of an hour to shape and zero point 0.6 of an hour to assemble. So if you just move down a little bit to the budget that I made, and I just threw this up and did it on Excel pretty quickly. I want you to see two things here. I put in the heading, which has your company name, the budget you're producing, and then for the year ending. And you can see to the left. So I have two columns. It says R2D2 and T3E3. Okay, one and two. On the left, I've got hours per unit, which means how long it takes. So the first thing I did was shaping. I did the shaping department first, and then I did the assembly department. What I'm doing here is I'm finding out how much it costs for each of the products to be made as far as shaping, and then I'm doing it for assembly. So the total cost for shaping and the total cost for assembly, and then I'm adding the two of them together to get a total cost for the entire operation. You can see that management is telling you how many units are going to be produced. And then it says to you, prepare a direct labor budget for 2010 or 20, whatever. That shows the budgeted direct labor costs for each department, which means shaping and assembly. Those are your two departments, and for the company as a whole. Okay. So here's what I did. The first thing I did under shaping, R2D2, half hour times $9 per hour. So the cost of producing one unit of R2D2 is $4.50 per hour. Now, it tells me in the narrative that management has forecasted that 20,000 units of R2D2 are going to be produced. So I put the number of units there, 20,000, and then multiplied the $4.50 per unit times 20,000 units, gave me a cost of $90,000 to just shape, only shape R2D2. I did the same thing with T3E3. 0.7 times $9 an hour gives me $6.30 per unit. It tells me that it's going to be 70,000 units, and I multiply them together, which gave me a cost of 441,000. So those are my two costs per shaping for shaping. If you add them together, that gives me my total cost of all the shaping this company is going to be doing. I did the same thing for assembly, but the big thing here is you have to remember your price or cost per hour per unit changed. It went from 9 to 12. The amount of time it took to assemble those two items also changed, and that's given to you in the chart that you see up here. Okay, so those numbers have all changed a little bit, but the operations you do haven't changed at all. I took the zero point 0.4 times 12, gave me 480 per unit cost per hour. multiplied by the number of units which was given to you, and gave me a total cost of labor for assembly of 96 for R2D2 and 105 for T3E3. So the total assembly cost was $600,000. Now, those are your two different departments. So those are two numbers that I'd be looking for. Number one would be 531 for shaping, 600,000 for assembly. The next thing that the company said, it said prepare each department and the company as a whole. So as a company as a whole, that means you just have to add those two numbers together, which means, as you can see here from my last line, it says total direct labor costs for both departments came out to $1.131 million. That's a perfect shape budget. All you're going to have to do for your assignment is exactly what I just did here. Your numbers will change. I'm even going to leave the product names the same. Okay, you're just going to have to do some difference as far as changing your numbers and getting the correct number. Okay, it's a pretty simple one. Now, when you move on to the last example here, that would be on your final exam part 1. This is saying use the following information to prepare a sales budget for the 4 quarters given with the year-end totals. This, what you see here, is the budget that is your normal sales budget. That's the one that's in chapter 21, simply slide number 7. Very simple budget to produce. All you got to do is fill in the numbers and give me a totals column. Okay, now the second part of this question that you see here, now I'm not going to do this because this is just simply taking 250 times the selling price of $12. So 250 times 12, that's going to give you your total for the first quarter. Do that for 4 quarters, just like the slide shows you, and then give me a totals column. It's not difficult at all. I did tell you you're going to have to do a projected sales budget, which is what you're going to be doing from these numbers. Okay, if you take a look at the directions here, it says using the following information, please prepare a sales budget for the 4 quarters given with year-end totals. Then after that is complete, use the numbers and prepare an estimated future, not cash budget, I have to change that, future sales budget with the following changes. Now, the following changes are pretty simple. They're just making you increase your numbers, okay? It says the number of units sold for the next year will increase by 20%. So that means every quarter sales are going to increase by 20%. And what you see here is first quarter sales in units, and that's what all these are for. Okay, these are all in unit totals. So all you have to do is take your quarter numbers that you have down here and increase them by 20%, just so that this way you get your new units being sold per quarter. Okay, now the second thing that the question is telling you in this case is the number of units are going to increase by 20. The sales price will also increase. So that number is going to go up by 14%. So you'll have to take the $12 per unit and increase it by 14%. Not the $14, but increase it by 14%. Okay, so here in this question here, it's actually asking you to do 2 budgets. One is your actual sales budget, which is very easy. That's slide number 7. And then the projected sales budget is the harder of the two, because you have to increase your numbers in units that are being projected to be sold, and also increase your selling price per unit. Okay? Now again, whenever you increase your numbers, obviously the numbers are going to be higher on your projected than it is on your actual. Your actual is what you have right here in front of you. Your projected numbers, you have to figure out your new numbers of units being sold. You have to figure out the price, the new unit selling price, which is 14% higher according to this question. And last but not least, you would have to go ahead and do all your additions to get your totals. Now, I didn't do one of these budgets for you to follow. I'm going with the hopes that you guys can follow the directions from the slides for this one. It's an easy situation. Okay, so if you do not do the problem here, I'm okay with that, because mainly what I wanted you to get out of this particular document is I wanted you to follow along with what I did do. Okay, your final exam document I'm posting right now after this document's posted. So you'll be able to look at this document, see what's done, and then you'll be able to pull up your final exam part 1 and go ahead and do that. If you have any questions with this, please make sure that you email me, or I will hopefully set up a Zoom meeting sometime tomorrow and on Wednesday for you guys to go ahead and pop in and out of a room. If you have any questions, please make sure you email me. And in the narrative or in the subject line of your email, please write final exam question and try to get that, so this way I can filter through my email quickly to try to help you as much as possible. Okay? So I am going to write up the directions for your final exam for this assignment. I'm going to post the assignment and you'll have it, so when you wake up in the morning, you will find this ready to go for you. Okay?